You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide. You know you want me, so don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards, and fate is pulling you miles away and out of reach from me. But you're here in my heart, so who can stop me if I decide that you're my destiny? What if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart. You'd be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you, and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight.
You think it's easy? You think I don't wanna run to you, yeah. But there are mountains, and there are doors that we can walk through. I know you're wondering why, because you're able to be just you and me within these walls. But when we go outside, you're gonna wake up and see that it was hopeless after all. No one can rewrite the stars. How can you say you'll be mine? Everything keeps us apart, and I'm not the one you were meant to find. It's not up to you, it's not up to me. When everyone tells us what we can be, and how can we rewrite the stars? Say that the world can be ours tonight.
All I want is to fly with you. All I want is to fall with you. So just give me all of you.
It feels impossible.
It's not impossible. Say that it's possible. How do we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine, and nothing can keep us apart. 'Cause you are the one I was meant to find. It's up to you, it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. Why don't we rewrite the stars? Changing the world to be ours.
You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide, but I can't have you. We're bound to break and my hands are tied.
Take the breath right here. And we're going to move into a prayerful moment right now. Take the breath, take the breath, take the breath, take the breath. Right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. And then you ask, how can I bring value? What's my job here? Sometimes your job may just be to pray. So we're here to wake up to this awareness and to allow for our life to be a living demonstration of that which has never been born and will never die. Now, feel all of your needs met right now. Just feel it. You can feel it. You don't have to immediately look to see if it's demonstrating. Just feel it. Just feel that you're so loved beyond your mental comprehension. You're the center of the universe because the center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere. So you're at the center of the universe and you're just so loved right now. Everything is working together for your good right now. You are about your Father, Mother, God's business right now to be on display for the isness, the nowness, and the foreverness of the Spirit now. Just feel that. We're describing heaven. One day in heaven, a day in ever-expanding good. That's heaven. Just a day, one day in heaven. So we're here to wake up into a day in heaven. And of course, when we speak of heaven, we're not speaking of a far-off state, some place that you go to when you die. We speak of you becoming more authentic, more alive, more awake. And the world is literally transformed as individuals become more awake. In other words, happiness does not come from circumstances being the way you want them to be. The world of phenomena does not have your happiness, your joy, nor your peace. That comes from heaven. And heaven is not a place, it is a state of consciousness. If you want to really change the world, wake up. Wake up. One day in heaven. A day in ever-expanding good. That's heaven. That's heaven. That's heaven. That's heaven. That's heaven. Just a day, one day in heaven, and you will be guided to be an answer, to be a solution, to be an energetic vibration of beauty. Take the breath right here. There are practices that allow us to stay in this progressive dimension of consciousness. Those particular practices, when focused upon, allow us to be in heaven all of the time. So a day in heaven begins with this. Notice and release your acquisitive nature. That part of you that wants to get something to be happy. Instead, shift your awareness and ask the question, how can I bring value to these individuals that are coming into my life? Now, if you take that on as a practice, heaven breaks out all over. One day in heaven, a day in ever-expanding good. That's heaven, that's heaven, that's heaven, that's heaven, that's heaven. Just a day, one day in heaven, and you will be guided to be an answer, to be a solution, to be an energetic vibration of beauty. One day in heaven, a day in ever-expanding good. That's heaven, that's heaven, that's heaven, that's heaven, that's heaven. Just a day, one day in heaven, and you will be guided to be an answer, to be a solution, to be an energetic vibration of beauty. Now you're finding yourself in heaven.
Hi, Angelique. Sadaf's microphone is on and yours is off.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Oh yeah, okay. You couldn't hear me before. No, I was trying to figure out why I couldn't hear myself because nobody was responding. So no, that's fine. I muted everybody, and now you can mute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you, Tisha. Thank you. Yes. So yeah, you just never know. You just always have to check whether things are working. So welcome everybody to our first online little meeting with the Conscious World Club. And if Ellen is available and can put on her video, would you be able to put on your video, Ellen? Can you please unmute yourself, except hi, Ellen. Can you wave, Ellen? Hi.
Yeah.
So Ellen and I are the co-founders of this club. And yeah, Ellen, could you maybe explain why we set this club up?
So I don't see you when I look at this speaker view. I see the whole images thing. So I was like, where are you? So now I see everyone again. Why did we start this? Well, it was actually Angelique who reached out to me and was like, this is the idea I have. And to me, it felt like we were already doing it. So it just sort of felt like second nature. We met at a Dr. Joe event in Mallorca, Spain. And we got to know each other a little, both based in Amsterdam. And so both are on the spiritual journey and students and love studying and doing the work, lots of meditations at 5 a.m. together with other geniuses. And yeah, so we decided events, like we love meeting each other, and we had this group at the event in Mallorca, the Flamingos, and how powerful it is to actually connect with real humans rather than doing the work on your own, by yourself. So yeah, that sort of led us to create Conscious World Club. You're muted now, Angelique.
Yeah, I'm trying to minimize the noise. So this is my microphone, and I don't know how to wear it near me, but anyways, I'll have to just hold it like this. So basically, we believe that it was possible to bring people together to have fun and to have meaningful connections and conversations. So one of the things that we don't like is like going to a bar or going to an event and just talking about the weather, talking about politics, talking about your job. Those things, they really bore me to bits. But what I can talk about for hours is real masterminding subjects and really connecting with people that really want to know, really the fabric of reality. And so so we met a lot of these Dr. Joe geniuses, and Ellen lived in Amsterdam, and so my intuition was, I'm going to set up this club because I got this download, like, why don't you set up this club? And I thought, I don't want to do it alone. I'm going to ask Ellen. And we just said, okay, let's do the first thing after Abraham Hicks. And then we, of course, next month, Dr. Joe and Greg Braden are here. So we thought, well, let's also create these meetings around Dr. Joe and Greg Braden. And then actually we started way more ideas started coming to us, including a spontaneous download that I should do a summary of my highlights of the Abraham Hicks Amsterdam workshop. And so Ellen, could you tell something about your own background, maybe what you do? So maybe that people, you never might know, there might be a client for you or a business partner or something.
Yeah, my background's in marketing and sustainability, yoga and nutrition information, so yoga teacher. And yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, so my background is actually, when I moved to London 10 years ago, I started spontaneously organizing things, not because I was so good at it, but because I was led, I was guided. I literally heard voices telling me that I had to do it, and I didn't do it because I didn't feel I was good enough, blah, 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 all the voices you have in your own head. But I kept hearing the voices talking to me. They're actually on this side of my my body, and they wouldn't stop. And I just said, okay, I'm going to do it now, because probably there are angels or whatever talking to me. And once I started organizing these events, basically the voices stopped talking to me, and I created this like huge amount of meetup groups in London with a lot of spiritual meetings, dinner meetings, movie events. And I really actually enjoyed it, met a lot of friends and a lot of meetup organizers through that way. And, you know, I had a huge community in London that I really enjoyed leading. And when I came back to Holland, I thought, there's nothing like this in Amsterdam, and I really need to set it up again. And this seemed to be the right time. I had to feel it. You know, these things, I don't think you can force them. So our initiative is actually, we want to do it offline, meaning we want to create these meetings live, face to face, where people meet each other, where they come together. You have to do things together. You have to have real conversations. So that is our first aim. But because our community is so big, we have so many friends all over the world. And of course, I have a huge London community and a lot of people abroad as well. I thought, you know, we also need to do something online. And because online you will be able, you know, there's less conversation, but you definitely can mastermind a lot of topics online. So right now, tonight, we are going to actually really focus on Abraham Hicks. My background with Abraham Hicks is that I've been studying Abraham Hicks without knowing it since 2005. And a teacher, an energy healing teacher that I studied with in Amsterdam, she gave us these processes of Abraham, the placement process and the segment intention process and gratitude and appreciation process. And I didn't know who she was. She didn't tell us that she was teaching us Abraham. She taught us a lot of Barbara Brennan healing techniques. And what I did notice was that because I was a very innocent student, so whatever she told me to do, I would do it. So she basically told me that on the left-hand side of the column, I had to write down the things that I wanted to do, and on the right-hand side, what I outsourced to the universe and what seemed too overwhelming for me. So I kept on writing about my dream life in London, my dream job in London, and my dream relationship. And in that time, I was living in Amsterdam. I had a shitty relationship. It was a horrible, horrible relationship, but I had low self-esteem, so I stayed with this Mr. Unavailable. And also there was no job in sight. But because I was just really like very innocent, you know, like a very innocent child, I was like, I'm just going to do this every day. This is like my homework. And I didn't even feel it. To be honest, I didn't even feel it. I didn't even feel that it would happen. I just thought, this is my homework. If I'm in this study, I need to do this every day. I just wrote about this amazing relationship, my amazing sexy job, my amazing colleagues and clients, and this amazing life. 6 months later, I was living that life. This guy walked into a bar in San Francisco, this soulmate man. I left this Mr. Unavailable within one day. And so I was so flabbergasted that it all worked, and I just didn't even realize what I did. And so when I went to London, I then went into one of these law of attraction meetups in Covent Garden. If you live in London, you probably know them. They're organized by a man and a woman. I forgot their name. They're really lovely individuals. And when I came in, there were a lot of people, and all they did was the placement process, exactly what I was taught. And I was like, what? This process comes from a teacher? And so I became obsessed, and I started studying Abraham Hicks. I bought their DVDs, the CDs, put it on my iPod, and I listened to it over and over and over and over again, like obsessive. And then, of course, on YouTube. And I became like an expert in Abraham Hicks because I needed to know the bottom of this, like what is possible, right? So many years later, so now in 2019, 13 years later, I still understand that, you know, Abraham Hicks keeps evolving. And so, but I never went to one of the workshops. And to be honest, when I went to the Amsterdam workshop, I didn't know what to expect. What I did do was really, really prepare myself with the Abraham Hicks 2019. Every day I listened to Abraham Hicks 2019, every video I could find about any subject that I could find. And there were a few new concepts that kept coming back over and over again. So tonight, I hope that you can keep up with me, because if you are a newbie and you don't know any of Abraham Hicks, you're going to think, oh my God, I don't know what she's talking about, because Abraham Hicks goes very fast. And you actually need to study Abraham Hicks to understand it. So if you are not advanced in this, you don't know the basics of Abraham Hicks, you're going to feel lost. So I'm just warning you. So I would say then read the books of Abraham Hicks, Law of Attraction, Ask and It's Given. If you read those two basics, you listen to some videos every day, you're going to be able to catch up with me. But I am going to do this webinar for the people who have been studying Abraham Hicks for years and who want to know the fine-tuning of what the concepts are. So let me share my screen right now. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully we will still have my voice. So can we see my screen? Can you please say something in the chat?
Yes,
Can you see my screen?
yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is basically this is our first event in the Vortex dinner. These are some people from London. This is one of our own flamingos. This is Ellen, of course. This is me, a friend of mine from London. This is a new friend from Amsterdam, and this is a friend from London. And basically we had 7 people show up, and we were actually masterminding Abraham Hicks at a dinner. And I can tell you that was just such an eye-opening meeting, because we actually shared the way that we applied Abraham and how we got results. And just listening to the personal experience of people manifesting using the law of attraction teachings and what they manifested was mind-blowing, because you always sort of doubt whether it's real, you know. You always have people on the hot seat that are having problems, you know, and they, yeah, I manifest, and then they go to the problem. So you never really know what are people manifesting. There are actually only a few videos of testimonials of people saying, Abraham, I created this, I created this, I created this. So we were really interested in, how did you apply the Abraham Hicks process? What did you do? What were the things that shifted in you? Because I believe that if this is true, all of these teachings are true, there is a formula and there is a process, and you can train it like a muscle. And that is what I'm obsessed about. Because if we are that unlimited, why should we not know it? So basically, this is our first meeting. We have, you know, these are the online second meetings, but we'll have a new meeting planned next month. Next month, we have Dr. Joe coming here for a one-day business event. And after that, we have a vegetarian dinner planned. So basically, so if you want to know more about it, you should go to our Facebook page. We are going to launch a 7-day deliberate appreciation game experiment. And that is to do with the fact that Abraham teaches, if you would appreciate everything in your life for 30 days, you wouldn't recognize your life. And I'm, you know, basically what one of the things that we really learned from Dr. Joe here, is one of the main teachers that I follow, is that we don't want to be philosophers at Conscious World Club. We don't believe in being a philosopher. We actually want to do it. And this is where Ellen and I really are aligned. We do it. We show up every day at 5 a.m. We meditate. Doesn't matter whether we're sleepy or not. We meditate. We create our life. And in addition to that, we study the biggest and the most profound, you know, prominent spiritual teachers that we feel aligned with. So let's start. So I'm going to start with a few concepts, and then we're going to go deeper. So I'm going to, we have 41 slides. If you guys can stay here and not fall asleep, I think you deserve a medal. But okay, so I went to Abraham Hicks not knowing what to expect, and I didn't know how Abraham Hicks starts a meeting. I've heard many of the videos that I bought. I've had many live streams that I bought via Hey How, so I know a little bit about how they start. But Abraham Hicks said very in the beginning that the group in this Amsterdam meeting were advanced. And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what does that mean? But then when the people started coming onto the hot seat, I started understanding what Abraham meant with advanced. And these people were so advanced that they were asking the questions of somebody who really works law of attraction, who knows that you can create. They're not doubting anymore. They're not
thinking, maybe I will die when I die. Maybe there is no, maybe there is no inner being. Maybe if I die, there's nothing. They believe that this is only one aspect of reality. They already know. And the questions they ask were so tuned in to actually, I know a lot, but I still need to know more. So the first woman, for instance, that came, she basically said, alignment for me is like a muscle. You practice a muscle. So that is the type of people that were in that audience. And so the questions that the subjects that are coming, you need to see it from the perspective of the level of advancement of these students. Some of them were, been following Abraham Hicks for years, and they really, they really know their stuff. So one of the main things that I did was I made a lot of notes, and all the notes were around the hot seats. So when I ended the workshop on Sunday, one of the main things that I had to do is take many, many, many steps back. I needed to objectify and make it abstract again. And so one of the things that I really, really took away from what happened to me when I went to Abraham was that I really started to become aware that we are not a human being. We are source energy. And at the end of the meeting, at the end of the 2 days, Abraham said something to me that I think was the best subliminal hypnosis that there ever was. And hopefully there's a recording somewhere. And I know that we're going to get a recording. So the people in Amsterdam over there will get the recording. So basically, Abraham said to us that because we were there in the audience and we listened for 2 days, we will experience many shifts. And because we will experience many shifts, we will notice many synchronicities, many things will flow into our lives. People that we know for a long time will seem different. And everything is different because we are different. And I was like, does Abraham say that all the time? Because I have never been to an Abraham Hicks event, so I didn't know. So I asked one of my mentors who actually studied Abraham for many, many years, and she said, not one Abraham Hicks event is the same, and Abraham doesn't say this always because, Abraham tunes in to the consciousness of the group that is there. And basically, I can tell you, after Abraham said that, I started seeing things be in my life like at rapid speed, many synchronicities, and it's like you set an intention and it just happens, and it's just so bizarre. It's like instant manifestation and instant allowing, because we started, I think everybody started believing more and more in the fact that they are not a human being. We are a vibrational being and we are source energy. And this identification with the human part of us is actually very, very, leads to a lot of frustration and pain and ignorance. Abraham Hicks doesn't call it ignorance, but I would call it ignorance, because ignorance just means that you don't know. You don't know the laws. And if you would know the laws, of course you would apply them. And so I think, this is one of the things that we need to keep in mind. We are so identified with who we believe we are. Dr. Joe calls it the memory bank, our identity, the neural networks, the programs in our body, the programs of how we react to things, the programs how we think about money, what we believe is possible, what we believe are the limits about creation or co-creation. We are so misinformed in so many ways, and it is because we identify with the human form. And I think this is one of the things that is really shifting within me. And it is because I witnessed all these manifestations of people on the hot seat. And of course, I started realizing that I had a lot of manifestations. Why am I focusing on the lack of manifestations, although I had so many of them? And so this is one of the things that you will keep hearing over and over again, that you are infinite source being, but that you believe that you're a human being, yeah? And this has huge consequences. This is the biggest gap that there is. In all the law of attraction teachings, if you take many steps back, it is because you keep forgetting that you are an infinite, deliberate co-creator that can have, do, and be everything you want. Because as a human being, you have so much proof that you can't. And Abraham explains why. So this is another very important thing that I started to understand, because Abraham mentioned it many times. What influence are you under? Are you under the influence of mass consciousness? All the thoughts and programs and beliefs that you hear on TV, from our parents, from your spouse, from your bosses, from the newspapers, from so-called experts? Or are you under the influence of source? Are you getting your downloads, your intuition from source? Is your inner being speaking to you? Or are you listening to your program, that little voice that doubts, that little voice has said, yeah, I wanted this job and it's not here yet. Or I manifest this relationship, but here we go again. It's not the perfect relationship. Maybe this love and stuff is shit. Or I've been looking at my vision board for 20 years and I still don't have anything. So really, what are you under the influence of? Are you under the influence of the guidance of your inner being that is always sending you emotional guidance? Or are you still doubting your inner being's guidance? You actually have it overwhelmed by your chatter. Yeah, let's call it chatter. Your chatter that tells you, I'm not good enough. It's not here yet. It's never going to happen. It's not safe to be successful. I'm just not good enough. I need another course, another 10 years of therapy. I don't know what it is, but really this was what I really started understanding, that Abraham keeps showing us, we have to be aware under what influence we're under, so that we can tune in and out of the chatter of our mind and tune in more into the guidance of our inner being, who always is giving us the right, impulse, the right information to achieve everything that we want. And not only for ourselves, but also for other people. So for instance, if you're having huge problems with your children or people that you love, you need to understand, are they acting under the influence of their true inner being? Or are they just acting under some program, some kind of addiction that they're running, there's some personality issue that they identified with? And from that place, you can tune back into your inner being and just have compassion with them. And otherwise, if we let other people's lack of connection to source influence our connection to source, guess what will happen? We will never, ever get out of this mess. So the person that has to start with a connection to source has to be us. We, me, myself, and I. And nobody else has that under control. Just looking at, if you come in, please mute yourself. You're already muted when you come in, so that we don't have any distraction. So, of course, this concept of alignment and the vortex is really important, because that will really, if you can notice when you are in alignment and when you're out of alignment, that will make a hell of a difference. Most people are trying to get in alignment, but they don't have a clue as to what it feels like and when they are in it. And Abraham Hicks says most people stumble occasionally into alignment because they have chronic habits of being out of alignment. And all these chronic habits of being out of alignment are because of how we are trained to be a human being. And I'm going to go into all the training of us that has made us act like human beings instead of like infinite sentient beings that can create, okay? So I'm going to give more attention to how do you know that you're in alignment, yeah? And because this is very, very important, because if you are out of alignment, you are not in the receptive mode of everything that is already here in the present tense in your vortex. So this is one of the key concepts. And of course, we always make jokes of, I'm in the vortex, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it should be practical. You should have practical tools to know when you are in and when you're out. And so Abraham Hicks, of course, is all about you ask and it is given. But hey, it is given unless you have resistance. And resistance is everything that feels like it's hard work. Where is it? It's not here yet. I don't really believe that I'm worthy of it. If I get it, then maybe something bad will happen. All of those thoughts and emotions that come into play when we really think of what we want to create, that is called resistance. And the opposite of that is called allowing of the receptive mode. And it really pays off to know and to practice these muscles of getting out of the resistance and getting into the allowing and receptive mode. Everything is about staying in this state of the allowing and receptive mode. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it the state of creation. And Dr. Joe Dispenza calls living in resistance, he calls it living in a state of survival. And living in a state of survival is really about not trusting abundance, not trusting life, not trusting yourself, not trusting that you are a creator, going back to the memory bank of all the trauma, of all the bad news, of all the, all the horrible drama series on TV, and making that your reality, and making that, the reference point for your belief system. Whereas if you're going to be living in a state of creation, you are going to allow yourself to basically educate yourself again on the laws. And this is very important. Abraham Hicks says, you are trained to be a human being, and as a human being, you are misinformed on so many ways on the universal laws, because if you would know the universal laws, you wouldn't be doing the things that we were doing. So I think it is very important that we make education, that we make really studying the universal laws like a pro, not like an amateur, but like a pro, that we're gonna do that for our lives, because so much depends on it. And why? Because action doesn't achieve a lot. Abraham Hicks has said many, many times during the seminar, that we are trained to take action. We are trained to do something. We are trained to fix something. We're trained to wrestle something to the ground. We're trained to talk to people, Google things, go into chat rooms, talk about this problem, look at, at reports of, is this thing healable? Or how can I make money, or the how. And then we need a plan or a strategy plan. What we forget is that we live in a vibrational universe. And a vibrational universe only responds to your vibration, to your vibrational set point. If you're taking action coming from a lack of belief in yourself, or a lack of belief in that it's already happening, that your only job is to enjoy it and to allow it in, you're going to be taking action forever, and your manifestation will wait. It will just not come in. So one of the things that I really started understanding is that I myself, I had to train myself for many years not to take action, and to first go into alignment. To go in, before I would take any action, I had to tune out the chatter of my mind that was in fear, that was in resistance, that didn't believe in whatever I was doing. And I had to tune into the part of me that was being given emotional guidance from source. And I can tell you right now, because of a lot of meditation every day with a whole group of geniuses and a lot of inner work, that I am really, it's a skill, it's a muscle that you can train. But I am not saying it's easy. We are so prone to take action in this world. It's really, it's a fight, flight, or freeze system. That's exactly, it's the amygdala doing that to us. But we have to take steps back when we are run by these survival programs, to actually go back to caring about how we feel. And if you listen to Abraham, you know what Abraham means with care about how you feel. Because if you feel shit, you know that you're going in the wrong direction. And if it feels good, you know that you are going in the right direction. And as long as you start feeling better in the scale, emotional guidance scale that Abraham Hicks gave us, as long as you feel better, you know that you're going in the right direction. As long as you feel worse, you know you're going in the wrong direction. You're moving away from your desire, from the desired outcome. So this is the thing, and still we are, and I have it myself, that sometimes I rush into action and I don't align, and I don't think, where is this action coming from? Is this action readiness coming from survival, from I have to do it, otherwise I won't succeed? Or is it coming from some kind of hypnosis that I'm under, of like, I need to work hard because otherwise it won't happen? And so really these are a few things that really were coming up again and again and again for several people in the hot seat. So one of the things that I really heard this time, and is the definition of satisfaction. And Abraham has been talking about satisfaction for a long time, but this time I really heard the definition. And satisfaction, the definition of satisfaction is when you allow yourself, meaning who you really are, to go and expand in the direction of your desire. So as an example, if you want to have more wealth in your life, but your identity is I'm broke, I'm a loser, I don't have this, Ivy League education, you are not going in the direction of satisfaction. You are going in the direction of excruciating suffering, basically. And you know that there's a big gap between your desire and what you believe is possible for you. And so Abraham keeps saying that we need to go, we need to expand, not expand in our pocketbook or expand in, in study time or expand in our waistline. No, we have to expand the way we look at ourselves, the way we identify ourselves in relationship to the desire. The person that is really you, your inner being, knows that you can have, do, and be everything. So you want something, it is done. It is a done deal. But our identity, our little neural network that tells us who we are based on the past will say, hey, you've never achieved that. You've never even had like $10,000 on your bank account. What do you mean you want to be a multimillionaire? Oh, what do you mean you want to lose weight? You've never been able to keep off the weight. So these are all the examples of how we feel we create a lot of dissatisfaction, and that means we are not in tune with the natural evolution of us actually having to expand our identity outside of our comfort zone in the unknown. Yeah. And this is really, so if you are feeling a lot of dissatisfaction in your life, where do you need to work? Is not, you don't have to change anybody else. You just need to work on your perception of yourself. Somewhere in you is a little program running that says, no, I can't do it. No, I just don't have it in me. There's something special with me going on. Everybody can have, do, and be what they want, but not me. And that is where we need to do the work. That little part area in our lives where we need to allow more of who we really are to evolve in the direction of our expansion, because we're always growing. We never get things done. We always will want more. And so this is really, really where it comes from. If we are vibrational beings and we should stop taking so much action, we should start caring more about how we feel, because when we feel, we are in contact with our inner being, with our higher self, our real self, or more of ourself, whatever you want to call it. When we listen to our emotional guidance, we are having a direct WhatsApp, a direct phone call, a direct Zoom with our inner being. Our inner being is always guiding us. If it feels shit, it means your inner being doesn't agree with you. It doesn't matter what you think. Your inner being says, I don't agree with this. But so many of us, we put up with shitty feelings because we don't understand that this emotional guidance is very important. It is the most important tool you can actually master, because not ignoring our emotional guidance comes at a big, big price. It means that you keep on feeling shit, you keep on taking action, and you keep on getting the results over and over again. Although you believe you're taking action, you're working harder, you are more worthy, you're really doing the hard work, you're struggling, you're efforting, but you're not listening to your emotional guidance. You keep on feeling horrible. You keep on feeling it's not working. You keep on believing you keep on asking, where is it? It's still not here. It really means that there's something wrong with the perception of the whole picture of that area. And so this is why Abraham Hicks' teaching is all about the feeling, taking the vibrational journey and mastering the mental faculties that we have that are about connecting to the feeling side of our being. And I'm saying a lot of things that you already know, but it's really maybe important that you hear it again so that you can test in the areas of your life where you are not listening to your emotional guidance. You feel shit, but you keep on doing the same thing because you don't believe, you don't really know that this is a big priority. You need to have a conference call every day with your emotional guidance, and we need to do it moment by moment. Have that Zoom call, have that direct line, direct connection with our inner being. One of the things that really, really opened my eyes was just one sentence Esther said. She said, Abraham said it through Esther, your inner being, regardless of what's going on in your life, is still dominant in your vibration. And for me, it was a big shift because I think I still identify, despite all the years of hard work and all the thousands of pounds I spent on myself, I still identify with this body, with this mind, with this identity, with like my history and everything that I think I am. But actually, Esther said, your inner being is still dominant in your vibration. To me, that felt like this huge, amazing, like when you are swimming and you're like very sick of swimming, you're like, oh my God, I want to stop swimming. And suddenly you find out there's like this big yacht next to you and you can just go on the yacht and you can just chill out on the yacht with like a pina colada or something. That was the significance for me of knowing that my inner being is still dominant in my vibration. I could stop struggling. I could stop working on myself. I could stop, this incessant repair of the damages of my self-work that I was doing all the time. I could just, instead of like doing this triathlon where I was swimming all the time to cross the river of change, I said, wait a minute, there's this yacht next to me. And that's really who I am. And it's all taken care of. I just need to go on the yacht and chill out. That was how important this sentence was to me. And I hope that there is a metaphor that you can use, that you can stop this struggle of repairing yourself, of believing that you're not completely whole yet, that you're damaged goods or something. When you've studied Course in Miracles with Robert Holden, I studied it with Robert Holden, I had that big shift again, like, because they started teaching us that, wait a minute, we really believe that we are under construction, that we are, a damaged building, and we're still under construction. And maybe some of us believe that we need to be torn down, and we need a complete makeover. But actually, no, you are already the template of your perfection, of your wholeness, of everything you want to be is already there. Why don't you just go there? Why don't you just identify, just download it? So it was a huge, like a sigh of relief in my being when I heard this. It felt like, I don't know what it did to me, but it felt like it was like a victory. It was like, Angelique, how could you not think of this? How could you not know this for so long? And yeah, so I hope that for many of you, this is like a huge wake-up call, that we are so hypnotized by this human life, this human identification, that we forget who we really are. It's the main teaching. It keeps coming back over and over again. Those of you who are in my 5 a.m. meditation call, you know that I've spoken about this several times, and the synchronicity of it all was Abraham Hicks started talking about it before I attended Abraham Hicks' workshop. So Abraham Hicks says that there's something about human life where we love to justify, defend, and argue for the reality that we don't even like. Yeah. So instead of allowing in the reality we like, we love to talk about how horrible our life is, how horrible, our working situation is, how horrible our childhood was, how helpless this it is to have this disease, or or this profession that you're in, or the industry or the economy that you're in. We defend, we argue, we justify. And I really took a look at myself. And when before Abraham mentioned it in the workshop, I realized this. I had this light bulb moment where I thought, why am I justifying this shit? Why am I justifying the past? Why am I justifying the struggle? Is there something wrong with me? And I felt, and I really understood that as a human being, we need acknowledgement. We need acknowledgement of our suffering. It's a deep, deep need. You cannot let your suffering, your struggle, your pain, all the hard work you put in not succeeding be unnoticed, because what would that mean? Who would you be without it? And I saw that in myself, and I said, this has to go, because this is disallowing me to be the best version, to be that fullness of who I am. And I cannot blame anybody, because I am still talking about the past, regurgitating the past, looking back at the past, and keeping it in place. Because it gives me a sense of significance. Tony Robbins calls it the human need significance, or maybe even certainty. Maybe some people even get love and affection when they go into this victim mode. So again, wake-up call. When Abraham Hicks said that, I was like, yeah, I know, Abraham. I'm gonna change this. But this is hard. This is an addiction, okay? So many of us get so much validation, certainty, and significance because of this quality about how life will be. So you have to be very careful. You have to understand addictions the way that Tony Robbins actually explains it, or maybe how Gary Zukav explains it. You know, addiction meets your needs in a destructive way. And this is one of those addictions that meets your needs in a very destructive way. So be clear what this is doing to you. So I'm gonna, and then, I was inspired to actually talk, because Abraham talked a lot about humans, yeah? So, and of course, all of us were there humans, but they were referring to human conditioning. And they were, contrasting human conditioning versus the universal laws. And of course, a lot of our human conditioning defies the laws. It makes the laws not work for us, yeah? We might as well not know the laws because we're so conditioned. But basically what Abraham says is, your human conditioning endorses certain ways of being that actually it makes it harder for you to actually naturally line up with the laws. So don't be hard on yourself, know that this is training, this is a skill set. And that's why Ellen and I were really inspired to create these 30-day, 7-day games where we're going to practice a muscle. We're just going to practice one muscle for 7 days and then for 30 days and see what happens. Because, if you would study all the law of attraction teachings, you would be overwhelmed. But if you knew it was just one muscle you had to change per month, then, it makes it easier. So one of the human conditioning, which I knew this because I am in many masterminds, I work with many mentors and coaches that are brilliant. And one of them had already told me that I had this hypnosis, that I believed that hard work, struggle, and effort was required to be productive. And so I have a playlist on YouTube, Abraham Hicks, Hard Work, Action. I knew this for 2 years, so I've been conditioning myself not to work hard. I've been conditioning myself to only take inspired action from alignment. But it was so beautiful to hear from Abraham Hicks in another way, that they believed, that they saw that human beings really have a deep, deep belief. Like it's almost like, it's like without hard work, struggle, and effort, we cannot be productive. So let's say you want to build a company, yeah? Or you have a long dream. Let's say you want to run a marathon. Let's say you would do it suddenly without effort. As a human being, you would feel, I'm not worthy. I didn't struggle for it. This is not good. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. You see what I mean? So this is how deeply we have been conditioned to believe that in the 3D material world, the 3-dimensional material world, because we don't understand that there are many dimensions. In the Dr. Joe Dispenza work, he teaches us to create from the 5th dimension. If the 5th dimension is the quantum field, where actually when you observe it into being, it's already there. It already happened. All infinite possibilities exist at the same time. They're all already happening now. And Abraham Hicks is referring to the same thing, but they use different words. And they say, you ask, it is given. It is given in the present tense. It is not even future tense. It is a done deal. The only question is, how long are you going to allow yourself to line up with it, to know that you can have it? And human conditioning is so entranced by this dimension of what we call linear time, linear time. And we are so conditioned to believe that to be productive, we need to do something. And the doing something is we need to exert effort. We need to control things. And very often with a lot of suffering, like sacrificial type of emotions, it never ever really feels good. And actually those people that do this amazing overcoming effort and sacrifice, and these people get, they have monuments erected for them, right? They are on stage talking about it, and nobody has ever, as far as I know, achieved a medal for being an instantaneous manifester because they didn't have to suffer. They didn't struggle. They didn't overcome themselves. There is no victory in the human sense for these people. And Abraham is saying, because it's so deep in us, this is going to play up in many areas of your life. And I was like, I know. I had to work on this for 2 years. And literally I have more results. I am more productive, not doing the hard work, working in a complete different way, not believing in struggle, not believing in effort, believing in the vibrational journey, believing in the one divine perfect action that will give me the results, rather than taking lots and lots and lots of unfocused, unaligned action steps. And so some of you that have been studying Abraham Hicks for many years, you know that they have the 17 seconds rule, that if you have a pure thought for 17 seconds, you will gather a lot of attraction power. You become a magnet for more of the same thoughts. And because of that, your vibrational set points start shifting. But that 17 seconds of pure thought is so difficult because our mind is boom, boom everywhere. So this is really one thing that I believe is one of the most biggest, what I call pendulums, false beliefs that are here in our society. And you need to catch yourself, to be in receptive mode, to really have this magical life where you set an intention and it happens 5 minutes later, or a day later, or maybe a week later, to have that type of ease and magic unfold in your life, where the universe is just giving you whatever you want. You need to let go of this little belief system. You need to drop it. And if you cannot drop it, you need to do what I did. You need to create a playlist on YouTube, listen to every Abraham Hicks video there is about hard work or action, and really pay attention, and then change your strategy. Because I needed a lot of convincing before I was ready to not feel guilty about not working hard. I felt so much guilt. And I will tell you, this is how, again, guilt is not a good feeling. Our emotional guidance is saying to us, hey, why are you feeling guilt? I don't agree with you that you're feeling guilty, but because we feel guilty, we start not feeling unworthy. So you really have to understand, what is the human conditioning? The human conditioning is a lot of things that catapult us into being in resistance of our desires. It actually takes us out of receptive mode. A lot of our ways of being take us away from receiving or allowing in the things that we most want, the things that would most serve us. Yeah. Another thing, and all of you know this, of course, but I am starting to work with this one. We are trained to observe and only believe in the physical reality, and to doubt the reality of the vibrational reality that Abraham Hicks talked about. We are so trained to believe that we only believe something when we see it. And I know this to be true because there are areas in my life where I can easily visualize the house, I can visualize the portfolio, I can visualize this and that, but that there are other areas where I feel a knot in my stomach. When I think about that vortex, I feel a knot in my stomach. I don't believe it because it just didn't feel good. And so these are things where we need to train our belief. We need to really pay attention to what we feel, because there was a man, actually, there was one specific person in the Abraham Hicks Amsterdam workshop, and he was saying to Abraham, yes, Abraham, I know it's coming, but I don't, I know it's coming, it's done already, but what can I do to receive it? And you know what Abraham said to him? Abraham said, you say with your words that you know it's coming, but your vibration is one of irritation and frustration. So law of attraction, what will law of attraction give you? When you say to yourself, you're trying to say the words, oh, this desire I have is already here. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. But your vibration is one of impatience. Your vibration is one of, I don't believe it. And Abraham just immediately sensed that, no, you actually are vibrating irritation and frustration. And it is because we haven't trained ourselves to believe that when we ask, it is given, it is done, it is a done deal. And if you've done it in one area of your life, it should work the same way in other areas of your life. But we need to practice ourselves to feel better about the vibrational reality that already is. And because we don't study the laws, we sometimes believe more in the physical reality that's facing us than in the vibrational reality. So I hope that this really, really makes sense, that this is one thing you need to change. You need to believe it before you see it. You need to see it even when it's not there. You see it you see it in invisible form. And you need to feel as happy and as excited and eager about it even before it manifests. And that's when you can allow it in. That is going to create a lot of satisfaction, a lot of excitement, a lot of impulses and new ideas that will come into you so that you can experience that manifestation into your life. But because we're so trained to not believe something before we see it, we start doubting. We have deep doubts. We feel a knot in our stomach when we think about this big goal. Yeah, and that's why it's so easy to manifest small things like parking spots or tickets to, I don't know, some kind of show. But the big goals, we have so much attachment and we're so observing the reality that we cannot allow it in because we just don't believe it, because we keep observing the lack of it. Yeah. So, yeah. The way to do it is really to tune into your inner being. Your inner being will tell you, hey, you're feeling a knot in your stomach when you look at your vision board. That's not a good thing. You can have your vision board. Really be honest to yourself. When you look at your vision board, do you actually feel good when you look at certain pictures? I will tell you, when I was younger and I had a vision board every year I would create a vision board. There were things on my vision board that made me feel sick. And I still had them there. And because I didn't clean up my vibration, I didn't go ahead to shift my vibration. I didn't get ahead out of it. I wasn't preparing my vibration. I was basically trying to force myself to look at a picture without cleaning up my vibration. And really, so whenever you have a negative emotion, you need to clean up your vibration. And that's a lot of work, but there's many processes there that will help you. But first, tune into your inner being, because your inner being doesn't agree with you, because when you ask, it is given. And that's how it works. Another thing that's human conditioning, observing this thing, what we call seeing. Yeah, this thing of looking at reality, facing reality. We keep on giving so much attention to reality. We talk about it. If your friends ask you, how are you? You say, oh, you tell the truth, right? You tell the truth. Well, it's not going that well, or we're having some problems, or Brexit is happening, or a client walked away, whatever it is. We are so trained to tell the truth, to be truthful, and to give a lot of credence to the reality. And Abraham said, this reality is a temporal reality, is a temporary reality. And other teachers that I work with, they would say, it's just a quantum potential. There are so many other quantum potentials. Once you shift your vibration, you shift who you are being, you shift your state of being, that other quantum potentials will boom, spring into being. But because we don't understand, the different dimensions of reality and all the quantum potentials that are all happening at this moment right now, we think reality is fixed, and we keep on observing it. And the more we observe it, the more our belief gets confirmed, and we get this loop. Reality creates our belief, and our belief then creates our reality, and we keep on staying in that same loop of this recycling of what we believe is possible based on the limitations of this temporary reality, just because we don't understand that there are vibrational dimensions happening, that are quantum potentials that we can actually tune into, we can welcome them in, we can experience them. So this is very important, that you start to understand the universal laws, and that you understand the fabric of reality, and you start to shift away from this third dimensional so-called reality, that you don't get stuck in the third dimension, that you start to relate to the higher dimensions, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension. Maybe there are other dimensions. With Dr. Joe, we basically focus on the fifth dimension. So but yeah, so of course, when you keep on getting the same results, you don't like it, you don't like your results, you don't like your reality, you work even harder, you struggle even harder, because you believe, I must be doing something wrong, I'm not working hard enough, I'm not doing enough, I need to maybe go to someone, I need to hire an expert to help me to fix this, I need to read a book about it, I need to go to a mastermind to talk about my problem. And you try even more to make it happen, but still, what's going on? It's coming, but what is your vibration saying? Your vibration is still, the desire is not here. I am still feeling unsuccessful. I'm still feeling there's a problem. These clients are still not here. My relationship is still not here. I'm still sick. Whatever it is, you are still observing, and you're taking action based on this vibration of lack. And that is, again, a really human condition that we suffer from. And this is the thing, why I'm going slow, is because if you understand what you're doing, where you go wrong, you can interrupt yourself, you can stop it, you can say, hey, what am I doing here? I'm struggling harder because I'm observing reality that is a temporary reality. It's just one quantum potential. You can stop it right there. Yeah. So because you need to start expanding your vision of what reality really is. It's just temporary based on your vibrational set point. You change your vibrational set point, everything will shift. So, and of course, Abraham was making fun of us, saying that we love to wrestle problems to the ground, fix it, solve it. And actually, the more that we focus on the problem, the more that we try to do something about the problem, the less that we are receptive to the solution, because the solution is on another vibration. And gosh, have I been there many times, seriously, when it's the human condition. When you have a problem, let's say you have one problem area in your life and you have 90% good things going on in your life, where do you think your attention will go? Where do you think you're going to be a little bit stressed out and let that dominate your vibration? Very often the problem, that 10% that's not working in your life will dominate your vibration. And that then drags everything down. And this is really why Abraham says, when it gets good, it gets better. And when it gets worse, it gets worse. And this is because of how our vibrational set points, when our focus and attention, how it drags in everything, it sucks in everything. Yeah, so this incessant addiction to want to solve problems, we need to, instead of solve problems, we need to start off, hey, how can I listen to my inner being and allow in the solution? The solution is already here. How can I allow it to be here? How can I allow myself to be receptive to hearing, or to hearing the guidance, or to hear that one thing that I need to do to actually welcome in the solution? There is no effort required. You don't have to wrestle anything to the ground, because as long as we wrestle anything, we try to fix everything, we define it as a problem, it's going to stay that way. Yeah. This is a very interesting one. This one I can relate to. Abraham said this several times with several people in the hot seat. And it is because relationships are so big in our lives. We are trained to care about what others think. We want to please them. We want to be liked. We want to be loved by them. We want to be respected. We sometimes want to feel special. We want to be envied. I don't know what it is that you have, but you want things from other people, and you care about how they treat you, and you care about how they look at you. And a lot of what we do in our lives is basically just because of these other people. Yeah. And so Abraham Hicks talks about wobbling. Guess what is causing the main problem for wobbling is because we care so much about what other people think. And this is going to help us not be stable. We're not going to be stable in our alignment when we are going to make them that important. So you have to care less, despite your training, despite what you get. Even if you're so loved by your children, you're so loved by your soulmate friend, or your friends, or your colleagues, or your profession, it doesn't matter. We need to start getting that amazing unconditional affirmation, unconditional validation from our source, because we have to move away from anything that creates dependency on things that we cannot control. We cannot control other people. Abraham Hicks is always super funny when they talk about how we care about what others think. It's always super funny, and for years I didn't think it was funny, because I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be liked. I wanted validation. I couldn't hear it. I was listening to it, and I was like, I wonder if I'll ever be that way. I think that that's just a bridge too far. I just cannot go there. But I will tell you, many, many years later, I've tried it. I've tried to make people love me. I tried to love people so that they would love me back. It doesn't work. It never works. We cannot control people. And now I'm finally ready to just love myself, to just connect to my inner being. And miracles happen when you do that. It's really bizarre. When you just connect to your inner being and you love yourself, the whole world shifts, because they feel that you're not needy anymore. You're no longer an energy vampire and needy child when you're with them. I'm not saying that you're a needy child. Definitely, I was one in my relationships with my boyfriends. And now I'm not anymore. I am so far removed from that woman that I was once, that I think, what was I thinking? This was horrible. Wanting other people to give me anything. It was horrible. If I knew then what I knew now, how amazing it feels to just connect to your inner being and just to love yourself from that place, and to just not care that much about what they do or don't do. Is such a place of freedom and unconditional alignment. And it can take you many years, but it's worth all the effort. It's really worth it. Yeah. So if this is a place of struggle for you, you need to know that it's defying law to want to control people so that they do what you want them to do. It's not ever going to be possible. It defies the laws. Yeah. You need to get that validation from yourself. And there's no other way around it. And that is the big jackpot. If you're going to do that, that's the big jackpot in your life. And you will know it when you have achieved it. And you will thank those people that didn't love you. You will be so grateful to these people that betrayed you, abused you, made you feel like nothing, because they pushed you in the direction of becoming more of who you are, which is you love yourself and you don't need anybody to prove that to you. And because of that, because of all that self-love that you're starting to emanate from your true inner being, you will be a magnet to things. And I now think there's a very important moment now that one of the last women in the workshop, she was sharing from such a deep place of humility. It was her second time on the hot seat. And she was in a hot seat in another cruise or something. And she said that she was so struck by the fact that a few weeks ago, she looked into the mirror and she started noticing how beautiful she was. And she felt so much love for herself that it was almost bizarre for her. And she was almost falling in love with herself, that it was bizarre, because she thought, most of us criticize ourselves, when we look in the mirror. And when we don't criticize ourselves, we think, oh, we must be vain, or, we must be arrogant, or whatever. All of these things are programmed into us. But she did what Abraham Hicks said. You started seeing yourself through the eyes of Source. And there was another guy, and he actually was in this seminar twice on the hot seat. We were like flabbergasted. This guy was so in alignment. This guy did meditations of the book of Power of Now, I believe, from Eckhart Tolle. And he said that after reading that book, he came into this such an alignment with his inner being that he walked around loving everybody unconditionally. He saw the purity in everybody. He saw how much they were trying hard, how much love they wanted to give, how much they, he just saw the good in them. And this guy, you could see it in him that he was oozing out love and wanting to know the universal laws and wanting to live them. And both these people to me represented people that just suddenly connected. They just suddenly, boom, connected, and they were out of this human conditioning that tells them, no, what do you mean you love everybody? That person is a criminal. That person is, abusing his relationship. That person cheated on his wife, blah, blah, blah. Or, that woman could have looked at herself and say, well, I have 50 kilos to lose, No, they were just looking and experiencing the world and themselves through the eyes of who they really are. And this is one of the things that Abraham Hicks started saying to us. Those people that flipped in and out of alignment, because there were a few of them on the stage, they were saying, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. And Abraham Hicks reminded them, why don't you just make this connection normal and this out of alignment with yourself, the oddity? And that to me was again like a huge shift, like, wow, I should make this connection with source that seems so out of reach, that seems so abnormal. That should be my baseline. That is my new goal. I should set that intention that is my new baseline. And this being our new baseline, I will introduce why we are putting in this 7 days appreciation game and experiment. And it is because I think we can all do this. It's just practice. So I hope that this really, really makes you aware of how, even as children, we're trained to care about parents, caretakers, teachers, peers. And it's a huge amount of training to get out of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say this is easy, but I am going to say when you see the people that have achieved it because they stumbled into it, because they suddenly went there, it is freedom. It is absolute freedom. And it gives you access to so much of what we really want and what we think would be given to us if we're in this relationship, when we get the medal, when we get this prize, when we achieve this and that. No, you can have it now if you connect. And why wouldn't we make that connection normal? Why would we see it as something abnormal? It was completely like, wow, it was completely like an eye-opener to me. And I think for the audience as well, to be honest, because I think we were like, really? Oh. So yeah, again, negative emotion. We so often put up with negative emotion, yeah? And I'm not saying wrestle your negative emotion to the ground or judge yourself, but practice the skills and the processes. There's so many of them, there's so many, apart from Abraham, there's so many other types of therapies out there, emotion code, faster EFT, theta healing, tapping, hypnosis, release techniques, Sedona method, I don't know, the vortex healing, chiropractic, I don't know what you can do, but basically there's so much you can do, body work, regression therapy, I can go for hours long. We don't have to put up with these negative emotions, because in the vibrational universe, if we hang on to these negative emotions and we make it our identity, we are not expanding ourselves. And that is the biggest struggle that you can have. The struggle is not that you're not getting what you want. The struggle is you not expanding into in your real alignment. That is the struggle. When you doubt life, you doubt yourself. When you fear life, you fear yourself. When you worry about life, you worry actually about yourself. And it's all because we're not lining up with who we are. And the universe is always mirroring our vibration of our inner being, of of our human personality, and our inner being is telling us through the emotional guidance system, hey, I don't agree with us. Doubt is a negative emotion, so I don't agree with you. Fear, why should we fear? There's only love, there's only well-being. You know, why are we in fear? If we are in fear, be compassionate and do whatever work you need to do to feel, to really clean up that vibration so that you can expand. And so this is the thing. We are so sometimes hypnotized that living with these negative emotions is normal. And I was there for many years. I thought it was normal to not believe in myself. I thought it was normal to be completely in distrust of life and of other people. You know, I was completely in fear. I would wake up in panic attacks. I thought it was normal. Of course, I did something about it, but I just thought, oh, that's how life is. This is just how life is. You know, some people have these panic attacks. But now I know now, it's like, wow, these emotions have to be cleaned up, because otherwise they're going to perpetuate in the vibrational reality. They're going to perpetuate a reality that I don't really want to live, you know? So basically there is another, and I want to stop it here because I could go on forever, but I want to honor our time. I actually have way more slides here, as you can see, but I think this is a good time to stop. There was a man who came up the first day. The first day was a man who lived in Amsterdam. And when he came on the stage, he was really, really emotional. And we were thinking, is he crying? Are tears coming from his eyes? We didn't really understand it yet, because he looked very emotional and we didn't know what was going on. And basically it meant a hell of a lot that he was on the hot seat. And I will tell you why. This guy lives in Amsterdam, but is Italian. And when he stumbled onto Abraham Hicks through YouTube, he first was not in receptive mode. He thought it was absolute bullshit. And then after a while, he listened to it. And then he felt this peace whenever he listened to Abraham. So he kept on studying it. And he realized that there was so much truth in what Abraham was saying. And so this guy then sends an email to Abraham Hicks Publications asking them, is there a plan for you to come to Europe? You know, because he then did not have enough money to go to the US, where Abraham Hicks is very often. And then he received an email and it said, that's not in the plans. And so basically he kept holding on to this pure desire. He wanted to talk to Abraham and Esther. He wanted to communicate. He wanted that contact with Abraham and Esther. He held on to this pure desire. He didn't talk himself out of it. He didn't say, oh, I don't have the money. He didn't beat himself up. He didn't say, oh, you know, I need to figure it out how I'm going to see Abraham. He just felt onto this purity of the desire. I just want to connect with Abraham and Esther. And then, of course, that suddenly when this email came out in the middle of the night, I received it in the middle of the night and I booked it immediately. Otherwise, I would not have tickets. He received this WhatsApp from a friend who said, you are a very good deliberate creator. And then he said, why do you say that? His friend said, did you not read your email? He said, no. And then he basically opened his email and found out, of course, Abraham Hicks was in Amsterdam. Not only was Abraham Hicks in Amsterdam, Abraham Hicks was 5 minutes away from where he lived in Amsterdam. And to top it off, he was in the hot seat. And Abraham said to him, I want you to turn around and look how many people are there. There were 2,000 people. Every time Abraham had to choose a participant, I feel there were like 200, 500 hands going up. Yeah, literally there were people rejected because they were not the one that Abraham wanted to talk to. And Abraham said, do you know the odds of us choosing you in this audience? And I still have goosebumps now. All of us were listening so intensely because Abraham said, you are the example of pure desire without resistance. You made Esther get into a plane, come to Amsterdam, travel long distance, and be in this gas tank, because we were in a gas tank. Everybody started laughing. And you still And you know now the pure desire without resistance can move worlds. And Esther said, there's nothing you cannot be, do, or have. Let this be the example that you can have, do, and be everything. Nothing is off limits. And then this guy said, okay, I now want to talk about my love life. And Esther interrupted him. And I want you to really listen intensely, yeah? Esther interrupted him and said, you had one desire, which is connecting with Abraham and Esther, and you got it. You have another desire. You want your soulmate love. That's going to happen as well. Now get out. And we were like laughing like crazy. We stood up and we were clapping because we all got it at that moment. Oh my God. He has a pure desire without resistance. He gets it without having to do anything. He has a desire with a lot of resistance, which is not pure, which is his love life. And he wants to talk about it. He wants to ask Esther, hey, why have I not got it yet? And Esther didn't want to talk about it. Or Abraham was like, why don't you just apply what you apply to this pure desire of getting in contact with Abraham despite the odds? Why don't you apply that process to your love life? And literally this first day, last hot seat, had everybody spinning. Everybody was spinning. Everybody was like, oh my God, is it that easy? Is it really that easy? So I want to stop here now because I hope that you will have had a lot of thoughts about what really the law of attraction is and how you can stop being in, being the one non-cooperative component. Yeah. There's so much more that I can say. Maybe I should do a second webinar. Tonight, I want to let us go. But I want to really say the last thing, which is to be connected to us, you can come into our Facebook group. It's a closed Facebook group for people that have attended one of our events. We don't just want anybody in our events. We want people who really choose to be in our Facebook group. So it's called the Conscious World Club Attendees Facebook group. You can see it on the Facebook page. Like our page, request to be in that group, and we'll add you, because we really want people to have attended events, not just anybody, yeah? And also Ellen and I were very inspired to not just, do these webinars and then read books and not do anything. We just thought, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we would just take the Abraham processes and we would just do them with a group and we would just live the processes. And I said, appreciation, because that is the biggest game changer. And I will explain why tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We want to initiate a short commitment, 7-day deliberate appreciation game and experiment in a closed Facebook group for only people who have registered for that. We want to come up with some rules of accountability so that you take this seriously, so that for 7 days you're going to be all in this deliberate appreciation game experiment, so that you are not a philosopher. You love yourself enough to want to know whether this stuff works. So if you want to participate in this, we have the Facebook event already on the page. Register for it. Tomorrow we will explain a little bit more of the game. And this has been recorded. So if you want to know more, please, maybe I'll be inspired to do another webinar based on all of these notes. And I'm just reading here the chat. I couldn't read this because I cannot focus on chats when I'm working on this, but thank you, Sarah. Such lovely, authentic delivery, made me laugh out several times. Wow, Sarah, yeah, absolutely. I make myself laugh as well. No, and it's time to sleep, Blanca. You know that we wake up at 5 a.m. Yeah, and tomorrow I'm doing this introduction of appreciation. And Maren, thank you. Oh, thank you, Gabriella. Love you, Gabriella. So Gabriella is one of my amazing mastermind friends, Ellen. She's there in the morning, 4 a.m. UK time. She doesn't have excuses. Hi, Herman. Yes, there is a recording. Thank you, everybody, for the love. There will be a replay. Asked to be requested to be in this Facebook group. And tomorrow at 9 p.m., we're going to do this little introduction of how we believe this 7-day deliberate appreciation game can change our lives. So if you want to be in, it's free, but you have to be all in because we want the vibration of the group to be really, really high. We've noticed that the consciousness of the group can really work wonders. If you do things in a group, you create a mastermind, you become one mind. And if you become one mind, you can create miracles. And I will tell you, all in deliberate appreciation is not easy. We are going to be challenged. Ellen and I are going to be challenged. We were talking about what we were going to do, and we were like looking at each other like, whoa, that's gotta be transformational. But it sounded like so much fun. We were so excited by it. And so we wanted to do it immediately because we believe in this concept of momentum that Abraham Hicks is talking about. Yeah. So yes, maybe I'll be inspired in another week or so after the appreciation game to actually talk about these other 14 slides. And I want to send my love to all the friends here, all the flamingos, the adopted flamingos, the old friends, and people here that are new to us. We would love to have you in the deliberate appreciation game. Even if you don't know Abraham, we're going to explain to you what appreciation will do for you. And we think we're going to change the world. We're going to change our little vibrational vortex world. Yeah. So Maria, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Why would you not be in the 7-day deliberate appreciation game, right? You know, if you can change your life, if you can create your life, you would wake up every day at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. as some of us do, to be in the meditations, to create our mind, to create our lives. So Ellen, would you like to say something? Can you actually talk? Can you unmute yourself and talk? I don't know whether you can.
Hello.
Hi. You didn't fall asleep, Ellen. That's a good sign.
Hang out in the kitchen. Yeah, it was amazing. I loved hearing about the event, so thanks for sharing. And I hope everyone can make it to the appreciation game because we're super, super, super excited about it. Can't wait for it to start. So tomorrow at, was it 9? Did we decide tomorrow? Yeah.
9 p.m. because for UK it's 8 p.m. and you know, so yeah, and we hope to call you just short and sweet, maybe 30 to 45 minutes, and it will be done in a little Facebook group for people who registered, and it's going to start not tomorrow but the day after, so that you get thrown into appreciation. And so I have a really good feeling about it. I tell this every day in the morning meditation group. I say, you know, I am done with thinking about things. I just download things. You know, it's like what Abraham Hicks is saying. You get the impulse. I just listen to the impulse and I act on it. And I don't try and figure out what is going to happen. I just know that when Source gives me the impulse, it will be amazing. Even if we're there with like 4 people. But I don't think that will happen. I think we're going to be there probably with like 50 people or more. So imagine what type of group energy you can generate with 50 people or more, maybe even with 100 people, because this seminar was oversubscribed. Yeah. And we believe that we are ready now as a collective to do the work and not just talk about it and not just study, go from workshop to workshop. You know, we're no longer these addicts that are information seekers. We want to apply it. We want to be doing it. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. We're going to log off, and we see you in the Facebook group, and maybe see you tomorrow night, and in this little appreciation game experiment. Okay, lots of love, everybody. Go to bed.